Every night, before you sleep, you have a choice. A small choice. One that most people ignore. But the people who change their lives use this moment differently. Because the last 30 minutes before sleep are more powerful than you think. This small window of time quietly shapes your thoughts, your habits, your mindset, and eventually, your entire future. Most people waste it, scrolling endlessly, watching random videos, thinking about problems, or falling asleep with a distracted mind. But a few people use this time wisely, and over months, their lives slowly transform. Tonight, I want to show you a simple nightly routine that can change how you think, how you feel, and how you live. It's not complicated. It doesn't require expensive tools. It doesn't require hours of effort. Just a few intentional actions before you sleep. And if you practice them every night, you might wake up months from now as a completely different person. Let's begin. Most people end their day the same way. Phone in hand, scrolling through social media, watching endless content, absorbing other people's lives. And while this feels relaxing, it quietly damages your mind because your brain doesn't get a chance to slow down. Instead, it stays overstimulated. Images, notifications, information, drama, comparison, all flooding your mind right before sleep. And when your brain sleeps with chaos, it wakes up with chaos. That's why the first step is simple. Put your phone away, at least 30 minutes before sleeping. Turn off the noise. Turn off the endless input. Give your brain permission to breathe. At first, it may feel strange. You might feel bored, but boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is the space where clarity begins. Most people rush through their days without thinking about them. Wake up, work, eat, scroll, sleep, repeat. Days pass by like pages in a book you never read. But reflection changes that. Every night, ask yourself 3 simple questions. What did I do well today? What mistakes did I make today? What can I improve tomorrow? This small exercise trains your brain to learn from experience. Instead of repeating the same mistakes, you begin correcting them. Instead of ignoring your progress, you start noticing it. And something interesting happens. Your awareness grows. You become more intentional. You begin living your life on purpose instead of on autopilot. Your mind carries many thoughts throughout the day. Stress, ideas, worries, plans, regrets. If you don't release these thoughts, they follow you into sleep, and they steal your peace. That's why writing is powerful. Take a notebook. Write whatever is on your mind. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be organized. Just let your thoughts flow. When you write them down, your mind feels lighter. Problems become clearer. Emotions become easier to process. And sleep becomes deeper. Many successful people keep a nightly journal for this reason. Because writing is like cleaning your mind before resting. The human brain has a natural bias. It focuses on problems, mistakes, negativity. It notices what's wrong more than what's right. And if you allow this pattern to continue, your mind slowly becomes negative, even if your life is going well. Gratitude interrupts this pattern. Before sleeping, think of 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big. Maybe you had a good conversation today. Maybe you learned something new. Maybe you enjoyed a peaceful moment. When you train your brain to notice good things, your mindset begins to shift. You start seeing opportunities instead of obstacles. You start appreciating progress instead of complaining about problems. And over time, gratitude creates a calmer and happier mind. Your brain is incredibly powerful. It cannot always tell the difference between imagination and reality. That's why visualization works. Before sleeping, close your eyes. Picture the life you want. See yourself achieving your goals. See yourself becoming disciplined. See yourself confident and successful. Imagine the details. How you feel. How you act. How your life looks. This exercise programs your mind. Because when your brain repeatedly sees a vision, it begins working toward it. Athletes use this technique. Entrepreneurs use it. High performers use it. Not because it's magic, but because it focuses the mind on possibilities. One of the biggest causes of stress is uncertainty. Waking up without a clear plan. not knowing what to do first, feeling overwhelmed by tasks. But a simple habit can fix this. Before sleeping, write down your top 3 priorities for tomorrow. Just 3. The most important tasks. Not 20, not 10. Just 3 meaningful actions. When you wake up the next morning, your mind already knows the direction. There is no confusion, no hesitation. You simply start, and that clarity saves enormous mental energy. The final step of your night routine should nourish your mind. Instead of ending the day with random content, choose something that inspires growth. Read a few pages of a good book. Listen to a meaningful podcast. Reflect on ideas that improve your thinking. Even 10 minutes of positive learning before sleep can shape your mindset, because the last information your brain receives often stays active while you sleep. Your subconscious mind continues processing it, and slowly, your perspective begins to evolve. You might be wondering, can such simple habits really transform a life? The answer is yes, because transformation rarely comes from one big moment. It comes from small actions repeated consistently. Every night you reflect. Every night you write. Every night you plan. Every night you feed your mind something better. Those small improvements compound. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. And one day you look back and realize you think differently. You act differently. You live differently. Most people underestimate nighttime. They think success is built only during busy mornings. But nights shape mornings. The quality of your sleep, the clarity of your mind, the intentions you set, all begin before you close your eyes. If you end your day with chaos, your next day begins with confusion. But if you end your day with clarity, your next day begins with direction. Imagine doing this routine every night for 1 year. You would complete 365 reflections. You would write hundreds of pages of thoughts. You would visualize your goals hundreds of times. You would plan your days with intention. You would feed your mind positive ideas daily. Do you think that version of you would be the same person you are today? Probably not. That version of you would be more self-aware, more focused, more disciplined, more calm, and much closer to the life you want. Tonight, before you sleep, try this routine. Turn off your phone. Reflect on your day. Write your thoughts. Practice gratitude. Visualize your future. Plan tomorrow. And feed your mind something positive. It might take only 20 or 30 minutes, but those minutes might become the most valuable part of your day. Your life is shaped by what you repeatedly do. Morning habits matter. Daily habits matter. But nightly habits are often the most powerful because they prepare your mind for everything that comes next. So instead of ending your day randomly, end it intentionally, end it peacefully, end it with purpose. And if you do this every night, slowly, quietly, your life will begin to transform, one night at a time.